Good evening, and welcome to the Miracle of Prosperity here on the New Thought Media Network. I'm your host, Reverend Jim Webb, the author of The Soul of Prosperity, 30 P's to Prosperity, Prosperity from A to Z, and Creating Your Self-Manifesting Vision Board. I'm also working on a new book, Forgive Your Way to Prosperity. We're so glad you're here tonight, and let us know you're here by typing something into the comments so that we know that you're here. Every week on Sundays, as you know, we look at a different aspect of prosperity, and we understand that prosperity is more than just money and stuff. We understand that prosperity can have many different forms, for any and every form of prosperity is simply a form of love that God's love can take. So we look at professional prosperity, where, in the words of Florence Scovel Shinn, we have a wonderful job with wonderful pay, where we provide a wonderful service in a wonderful way. We look at relationship prosperity, where our relationships are harmonious, peaceful, joyful, uplifting, and nurturing. And our relationships in our outer world are joyful, peaceful, nurturing, and uplifting. When we find peace within, when we nurture ourselves, when we open to joy, and when we continually rise up above our current experience. We also look at spiritual prosperity, the peace that passes all understanding, and of course, logistical prosperity, where our lives work more easily and effortlessly, and where struggle is at a minimum. There are so many other dimensions, including financial prosperity, where we have more than enough to spare and more than enough to share, and where our finances are no longer a source of worry or concern, but are a source of joy and support. And there are many aspects as well. So tonight, we're going to cover a different aspect of prosperity. We're going to look at ways to become more prosperous by identifying parts of us that may block our prosperity or parts of us that we can use to enhance our prosperity. I'm reminded of a song by Tina Marie, Behind the Groove from 1980. The first line of that song was, "There's another side inside of you." Well, there may be many sides inside of us, and some of those sides could possibly be past lives that bleed through to this life. Those may be different aspects of our energy and of our consciousness that come up. Now, some of those past lives may have held trauma and fear that may block us from our current prosperity, or some of those past lives may have something to teach us, or they may be past lives where we have exhibited something that we can use in this life to enhance our prosperity. So that's what we're going to explore tonight. And I'm going to explore that with Reverend Lisa Rae Brooks, the author of the book, My Infinite Self. Hi, Reverend Lisa Rae. Good evening, and if you can unmute, that would be great.
Good evening, Reverend Jim. I just
So
wanted
glad
to
you're
have a
here.
second.
Thank you for joining us. I love your book, My Infinite Self. And for those of you who don't know, Reverend Lisa Rae, her book is a book that explores many of the past lives that she has lived, how they may have bled through in this life, and what spiritual lessons they teach her, both in terms of growth and in terms of what to avoid in order to maintain her happiness. So she not only has explored this for herself, but she also helps others to explore their past lives. And that can be so very powerful. Her book again is My Infinite Self. And what it teaches is that you too have an infinite self that can help you in your journey of prosperity. So, Reverend Lisa Rae, we're so glad you're here. Tell us what prompted you to write the book, My Infinite Self?
Actually, it was the masters that prompted me to write the book. I
Okay.
have had a journey my entire life to find out
Uh-huh.
about a physical um, issue that I have on my body and tried many
Right.
ways to find out, and was led to look into a past life regression. But
Mm-hmm.
prior to that, I did not believe in reincarnation or anything of
Mm.
that sort. This was,
Mm-hmm.
I thought all of it was a bunch of hooey. It
Yeah.
wasn't
A lot of people do. Yeah.
right. It wasn't
Mm-hmm.
anything that I truly thought was real until I
Mm-hmm.
had my own personal experiences.
Mm-hmm.
And I found a person through the Tacoma Metaphysical Chapel that
Mm-hmm.
helped me have a past life regression with a group and then
Uh-huh.
individual. So that's really how I got started, because with
Mm-hmm.
that group situation, when they said step through the door, and I looked down
Mm-hmm.
and I saw pants that I wasn't wearing, so this
Mm-hmm.
experience
Yes.
was, yes, was very enlightening to me. That's how I got started.
Uh-huh.
True. Yeah.
Okay. Fascinating. And you explored a number of different past lives and what impact they had on your life. Which past life of yours impacted your current life most positively?
This particular life I'm going to share with you was one from it was an Amazonian shaman, a shaman, female
Mm.
shaman at that. And
Mm-hmm.
actually, I was on a Course in Miracles morning call that we have,
Mm-hmm.
and
Yes.
you said, reach out and touch that hurt place within you. Well, when I reached out and touched that hurt place, I actually went into this lifetime that I knew nothing about. And
Mm.
I saw her suffering, and
Mm.
in her suffering, she was being unforgiving. And
Mm.
I said to her, forgive them, for they know not what they do. And that
Mm-hmm.
experience shifted my feeling and made me just feel like a whole weight was taken off of me.
Mm.
What brought her to that point of being um, tortured, if you will, was that
Mm-hmm.
uh, she had hidden what her true vocation was. She had hidden
Mm-hmm.
it from her village, because this happened in about the 1500s or so.
Mm.
Um, but what she did was she kept her secret from them. Um, and when she needed their help, her villagers, they didn't come help her when
Mm-hmm.
things were happening negatively to her. And she was wondering, why did they do this? And it was because she
Mm-hmm.
abandoned them first, because
Mm-hmm.
she pulled her energy away from them. So that
Mm.
particular lesson was the most impactful for me, because
Mm.
like most other people, I have one um, high level situation that I'm still working through and constantly
Mm-hmm.
working through, and that's
Mm-hmm.
abandonment. That is my
Yes.
particular little thing, or big thing, whatever you call that, keep
Yes. That
back.
is the through line lesson of your life.
Exactly,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. And it is a thread in several of the lifetimes that I do talk about in this book.
Mm-hmm.
Um, And I have another book coming out, not titled yet, but it speaks to some of the experiences where those lives have taught me and healed me. So
Mm.
a lot of times, most of the times that, as you'll see in this book, which is in two parts, the first part is my journey, what I
Mm-hmm.
did to learn about
Mm-hmm.
my past lives, what I did to
Mm-hmm.
understand how to heal myself, and
Mm.
in this current existence that we have, and
Mm-hmm.
also why I was driven to do it. So all of
Okay.
that is in there, and it's all based on love.
Mm.
Everything is based on love. And the second
Mm-hmm.
part of the book are several lifetimes that I journeyed into and have gotten an impact from them. And I have been able to offer healing to when I say them, it's me, of course, and healing
Yes.
them as well. So
Mm-hmm. Wow, fascinating. So by working and offering them healing, you can heal yourself of some of the things that came up in this life as difficulties. Is that accurate?
and that's perfect. That is absolutely,
Okay.
yeah,
What
yeah.
other selves of yours have bled into this life most prominently?
There is another lifetime where um, two things just came up abandoned. Um, One was a feeling, and that's how each one came up for me, is how do I
Mm-hmm.
feel? What is the feeling that I am having in this lifetime that is impacted by another?
Mm-hmm.
So the feeling that I was having was that I could not allow myself to receive money. And it was the feeling of not being worthy of taking
Mm-hmm.
money or getting paid for the
Mm-hmm.
things that I do. And what I
Mm-hmm.
found out was that it was from a lifetime where I was an artisan during the Middle Ages, and
Mm-hmm.
I worked for the Lord in the realm that we were in, and I had
Mm-hmm.
no problem being paid from the Lord. But when I
Mm-hmm.
did things for people who were common peasants, um, similar to me, I wouldn't let them pay me. And what I
Mm-hmm.
didn't realize was that I was taking away their personhood by not allowing them to pay. And that's a
Mm.
that I have learned in this lifetime. It's a big one. So
Wow.
now I let people um, gift me, donate, pay me,
Mm-hmm.
whatever they
Yes.
want to do. Open
Amen.
that, yes.
Uh-huh.
And also respect people when they want to offer me a gift or offer me
Mm-hmm.
anything that they can provide. So I respect and receive. So that
So
was
it sounds like that was a lifetime where your experience and what it taught you helps you with your prosperity in this lifetime.
absolutely, absolutely. I
Now,
didn't
one of
catch
the
that.
things, go ahead. Yeah.
You're
Now,
right.
one of the things you mention is that sometimes these lifetimes come to you spontaneously. Would you find that to be common with people?
Yes. One of the things that I have learned through my study of past life regressions, and I'm
Mm-hmm.
on my way to being a psychotherapist in past life hypnosis. And one of the things that I have learned as I'm going through this is that after you go through an initial past life regression, the next 3 days is a
Mm-hmm.
fertile place for you to start having dreams, start having
Mm-hmm.
memories of
Mm-hmm.
things, different things that you may not know where they're from, but if when you sit with it and think
Mm-hmm.
about it, you can make a connection. It's like,
Yeah.
oh, I see where that
Yeah.
came from. And
Yes.
yes, and that will continue as long as you need it to. Because spirit,
Yes.
God knows what you need to know. God knows what
Mm-hmm.
you can receive it because everyone can't take all of the information all at once.
Mm.
So some of it comes over time and some of
Mm-hmm.
it does come immediately. But spirit
Mm-hmm.
knows what you can handle, and that's what spirit will give you. So
Mm.
getting little bits
Yeah,
and
that's
pieces
fascinating.
does happen. Yes.
Yeah, that is fascinating. And I'm wondering also if you've ever had a past life regression or a vision into a past life, and didn't realize at the moment it was a vision into a past life. Because I've had one of those, and I don't know whether it's common or not.
Yes, that is very common.
Uh huh.
Um, one of the things that can happen once once you're aware that this can
Mm-hmm.
happen, um,
Yeah.
then the information becomes more readily available to you.
Mm-hmm.
Awareness of something, just opens you up to the possibility. And once that
Mm.
possibility is open, you can actually be looking at something and say, this doesn't look right. And deja vu is one of
Mm.
those happens
Yeah.
just the way you described it. You
Uh huh.
feel like you've been someplace before,
Mm-hmm.
but you've never been there. You've
Mm.
never had that experience. You never met this person. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but that's you stepping into in and out of another lifetime. Just real quick, I did have that experience with my first husband, my second husband. We we met on a mountaintop in West Virginia. We were going whitewater
Okay.
rafting, and
Uh-huh.
we're introduced to each other. We said hi, and he said to me, "I I know you," and
Mm.
I said, "And I know you too, but we'd never met before." And he
Mm.
said, "But you were a man," and I said, "And you were a woman." Those were our very first words to each other.
Wow.
Yes,
Wow. That's
and
fascinating.
right, and we were blown away because at that time I did not
Mm-hmm.
know anything about reincarnation. I did not know about past life
Mm.
questions, none of it.
Yeah.
But
Mm-hmm.
that came there, and it came up for us to realize that that happened. That
Yeah.
happened. Yeah.
Yeah. I had something similar, but it was in retrospect. My first partner was a, a horribly abusive drunk, and I didn't know it, when we started. But as we moved down the path, all of a sudden, uh, fell off the wagon, and all these
Mm.
ugly things came out. And when leaving, I said, I don't have to stay. I'm not like some Methodist woman wearing a bun, wearing a black dress and a brooch, stuck here on a farm with this abusive man. And I don't know why I kept saying that until I had a past life regression. And the two of us were on some farm in the Midwest. He was a drunken, abusive farmer, and I was some Methodist woman wearing a black dress and a brooch with brown hair and a bun on top of my head. And I couldn't leave then because of the economic aspect of it and the social stigma. And I couldn't care for myself, so I had to take it. And
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea at the time why I was saying that. But we were finishing a pattern for me to be free. And it was fascinating that it was like a spontaneous past life regression, and I didn't even know that's what it was. Have you ever
Yes.
heard any other stories like that?
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
And what that can indicate is that you two made a contract to
Mm.
travel together and to come back in some way. Who
Hmm.
knew what the sexuality or relationship would be? You could have been brothers and
Uh-huh.
sisters, but that
Right.
that contract was for you to free yourself from that feeling of being trapped, of being abused, and all of that to break that cycle.
Mm.
That's beautiful. That's
It was. It
beautiful.
was just amazing. I was just amazed. You know what? I kept saying that during the part of it. So that was just amazing. But you know what else that told me? It
Mhm.
told me that past lives can bleed through quite readily, and anyone and everyone can have access to information on their past lives that can help them to break patterns or help them to bring aspects of themselves into this life that can help them in this life. So
Yes.
what are some of the ways that you would suggest that people kind of easily access anything from a past life that they can bring up for their healing?
Well, one of the things that I do strongly recommend is that they do this with a professional. Don't
Okay.
try and do it on the internet or social media, or if you find somebody on um, YouTube and you can watch.
Mhm.
No, no, no,
Find
no.
someone you know and trust, and you know their energy, and you trust their energy.
Exactly.
Is that accurate?
That's accurate, and plus, you know that they have gone through training in order to understand,
Yes.
because things come up for people, things come up for healing,
Hmm.
and if you don't have enough information, enough experience
Hmm.
to help a person and to guide a person through that experience, it could be a very
Hmm.
traumatic issue.
Yes.
So,
Yes.
so it's very important.
Absolutely. Absolutely, absolutely. It can be quite important. So, some of our guests may have some questions for you. And now that we've established everything that we've established, we're going to give them an opportunity to type their questions in the comments section. So, we're going to go to break. And when we come back, we'll talk some more and answer some of our guests' questions here on the New Thought Media Network.
Please help us say thank you to our organizational sponsors, including the Hefferland Foundation, Affiliated New Thought Network, International New Thought Alliance, Science of Mind Archives and Library Foundation, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown, New Thought Philadelphia, Planned Happiness Institute, Summit Center for Spiritual Living, One Heart Retreats, Center for Spiritual Living on the Lake, Unity Kitchener, Unity Spiritual Center, Ottawa, Om Center for Spiritual Living, Satya Center, Begin Within Ministries, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, Unity of Savannah, and the Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, as well as all of our individual donors. Thank you for being part of the New Thought Media Network. Please like, share, and subscribe. New Thought Media Network, positively inspiring.
People of African Descent New Thought Group proudly presents Celebrating Our Soul, Consciously Creating Change at Unity Village, Thursday, August 1st through Sunday, August 4th. Some of our greatest keynote speakers, some of our finest musicians and vocalists, some of our amazing and experienced panelists, and some of our fabulous masterclass presenters will be there for you at Celebrating Our Soul, Consciously Creating Change at Unity Village this summer. Regular registration ends June 30th, so don't delay. Register today at padntg.com. Sponsorship opportunities are available at padntg.com. Volunteer opportunities are available at padntg.com. Go there now, padntg.com. See you there.
And we're back here on the Miracle of Prosperity with Reverend Lisa Rae Brooks. And we're working with past lives and how they can help us on our journey to prosperity. And we're going to answer some of the questions. Yes, Reverend Lisa Rae.
I did want to say something from the last segment. One of the things you
Okay.
asked about was how can people go through this process? And I said, and I mentioned to you that folks should definitely go through a professional rather than trying to
Hmm.
go through YouTube. One of the
Yes.
things, one of the reasons that you want to do that is that a professional will record your session so that you
Mm.
hear what's going on through your own voice, so that you can trust the information that came through, so that it's just not coming from one side. If
Yes.
I have the ability to uh, speak to someone, and
Hmm.
if I ask their permission, I can tell where they and I have crossed lives. But
Hmm.
I'm the only person that knows that. They don't know it
Hmm.
for sure because they haven't had the experience. But in a
Yes.
regression, when we go through that, they'll hear the recording of their own voice speaking
Hmm.
it so that they know it
Hmm.
really happened. So that's one of the
Oh,
other major things.
so it's a form of verification. Okay, that helps me
Yes.
understand.
And
Thank you so much.
yes,
Go ahead.
yes, verification and revisiting. You get a chance to
Mm.
listen to that recording over and over and over again, especially
Hmm.
when new things come up for you that
Hmm.
add on to what you have experienced already. So
Hmm.
it's very important because those sessions can be very lengthy. They can be about 5 hours long. So
Wow.
to gather
Okay.
and capture all that information is important on a recording.
Okay. Okay. Wonderful. Well, we have several questions from several guests. Uh, Henry Harris at 817 has a question, and I don't know if you need your glasses. I know I do. So, is it possible to see our past life and it starts to manifest in this present life? Also, is there more beyond this physical realm of lifetimes on the earth?
Okay. The the interesting thing about past lives is when you step into it. Well, first of all, everything is happening now. There is no
Mhm.
past, there is no future. So whatever is happening in for you right now, something connected is happening for yourself in another lifetime, but it's all at the same time. There's only now.
Mm.
I know it's a
Yes.
difficult concept to understand because you may encounter another lifetime that was 10,000 years ago, and
Hmm.
you actually see yourself in there and you know it's not today, but you don't know
Hmm.
really where it is or when it is. But the point is, because you can impact it now, means that you are in that same um, space-time dimension. You're actually on the same plane
Yes.
of
Yes.
existence. It's difficult to explain,
You know
but
what's
the bottom line.
interesting? Yes, the
Mhm.
masters kind of broke that down for us once when I did a series called Spirit Speaks on Past Lives. And they likened it to if you have a guitar string, you pluck it at a certain point, and that vibration goes all the way up the string and down the string. And they mentioned that our eternal life is like a guitar string. And so we may be here in 2024, and that's one point on the guitar string. But if you pluck it, something's happening 10,000 years ago. That's the same guitar string, because that
Yeah.
string is our continuous experience as an eternal
Soul.
being. Yes, as a
Yes.
soul. Yes. And that was a very interesting way to put it that made me understand it, because I didn't understand it for a very long time.
Yeah, I actually got it. I have that in my book as well because they said that
Oh,
too. Um,
okay.
yeah. And one of the other things that I want to point out about that is that when you do experience another lifetime,
Hmm.
that lifetime, it may be at any point in that other lifetime. It may
Hmm.
be at that the birth of yourself in that lifetime. It may be an
Hmm.
important event like when you got married, or an
Hmm.
important event when you were ordained. maybe even when you died. But
Hmm.
spirit will take you wherever you need to go in that lifetime so that you can get the lesson or the healing that you need right now. So if
Yes.
I hope
Yes.
that helps, I hope that answers your question.
I think it helps. I think it answers this question. Tierney also had a question. Tierney Smith had a question at 824,
Mhm.
and we'll read it. Is it common that once you are aware of past lives, that you are able to step into them in a meditative space?
Yes, absolutely. The awareness just makes you prime. It primes you for being able to get more information from that lifetime and maybe even from other lifetimes that are connected to it. I recently had a friend of mine share a message with me. She called me out of the blue and she said, "Look, normally I wouldn't do this, but I have to do this. I'm being led to do it." And she told
Mm,
me about a little bit about a lifetime. And she said, "You need to go do a regression." So I went to another friend who I trust, who does
mhm,
regressions, and did one with
mhm,
him. And we both had a visceral experience as I went through and found out about that lifetime that she was sharing with me and another one.
mhm.
So it just having that little bit of awareness will
Yes.
open you up to getting the answers from many different modalities: meditation,
Yes.
contemplation, just going on a spirit quest or a
Mm,
vision quest or shamanic journey.
mhm.
Anything can take you there. Just and sitting in a park, looking at flowers, watching children play, that may trigger this beautiful opportunity to see what happened in another life.
Yes. And one of the things I found is that when I had access, there was a certain life that I had access to, and I realized that I could have access to that young man at any time I needed to call on him. It was in the French Revolution, and he was a very young, virile man, and he was very, very strong, and he was very, very committed, and he was very, very courageous. And I looked at this man and I admired him, and this man said, I'm in you. And so every time I get filled with a doubt or a hesitation or I go into my own little pity party or I can't, I tap into that past life and the courage and conviction of that young man. And that young man, who is me, part of my infinite self, helps me. And so it sounds like these past lives can help us through this life as well. Have you had some
Yeah.
experience with that as well, Reverend Lisa Ray?
Yes, absolutely. In fact,
Mm-hmm.
there's this one thing that really blew my mind. If we're
Mm-hmm.
aware of spirit guides, those guides that are there to help us, that we ask for their assistance or something like that,
Mm-hmm.
and they've been with
Mm-hmm.
us since birth generally, um,
Yes.
I found that one of my spirit guides is actually me in another lifetime. So,
Wow.
so
Okay.
yes, he is an Aborigine in Australia, and
Mm-hmm.
he goes on walkabouts. He goes on
Mm.
walkabouts weeks at a time, but during
Mm-hmm.
those experiences, he has a very deep connection to spirit. Because he's been
Mm-hmm.
out there all by the wilderness, and
Yes.
he comes to me and gives me supporting assistance as well. So that's me helping me.
Mm-hmm. You helping
So
you, us helping us. Beautiful.
yeah.
Beautiful.
Mhm.
Thank you. Now, Reverend Jane Batt has a question as well at the 826 moment. Do you feel that after being female and male, a lot of times we can grow into more well rounded wholeness?
Okay. I That's an interesting question because I'd never thought about that, especially
Mm,
since I've been male more in more of my lifetimes that I know of than female. It's being female for me has been very rare. Um, the What I feel from a wholeness perspective is that um, because of my experience in this lifetime right now, that the other lifetimes of myself are also opening up their consciousness and awareness to me and
Mm-hmm.
through me to each other.
Mm.
So it's bringing all of us, all of these incarnations of myself into a oneness. And the more
Mm.
that we learn of each other, the more we see where we cross, and we learn from our mistakes in other
Mm-hmm.
lifetimes. Um,
Mm-hmm.
in fact, one of the things that I realize that I have done is that when I have made a mistake in one lifetime, I may go to a different lifetime, and we would say just for ease of understanding, we'll go forward into another lifetime um, to heal that situation. For example, I was very arrogant in one lifetime, and because of my arrogance, I caused a lot of young men to die in battle. And in the next lifetime, I wanted to be humble, and I became a
Mm-hmm.
maid in a house in Carnegie. Oh, in a house like those in Carnegie. It was in upstate New York.
Yes.
So it was a way of humbling myself, because I felt that that was needed. My spirit felt that that was needed in order
Mm-hmm.
for me to balance out um, the,
Yes.
the challenges that I was having in
Yes.
each life. Yeah. So
Yes.
I
And
hope that
you bring up
was.
a very interesting point, and that is how we choose our lives. One of my favorite books is Thomas Newton's Life Between Lives and The Journey of Souls, which look at all the ways souls choose parents and lives in order to find that balance and in order to heal their eternal selves. So that's a very
Mhm,
fascinating point. And these are
mhm.
wonderful questions. Now, these may have prompted some other questions from some of our viewers, so we're going to go to break and give you an opportunity to come back with even more questions of Reverend Lisa Rae, and then we're going to have some surprises for you. So stay with us, and we'll be right back here on the New Thought Media Network.
People of African Descent New Thought Group proudly presents Celebrating Our Soul, Consciously Creating Change at Unity Village, Thursday, August 1st through Sunday, August 4th. Some of our greatest keynote speakers, some of our finest musicians and vocalists, some of our amazing and experienced panelists, and some of our fabulous masterclass presenters will be there for you at Celebrating Our Soul, Consciously Creating Change at Unity Village this summer. Regular registration ends June 30th, so don't delay. Register today at padntg.com. Sponsorship opportunities are available at padntg.com. Volunteer opportunities are available at padntg.com. Go there now, padntg.com. See you there.
Reverend Lisa Rae, we're so glad you're here on the Miracle of Prosperity, and we welcome everyone back. Now, I have another question for you, Reverend Lisa Rae. We mentioned how occasionally a past life will bleed through. Are there any things that we can look for to help us know that a past life is bleeding through in this life? And what can we do about it if that happens?
One of the things that I do is simply ask Spirit, okay, what is this about?
Hmm. Okay.
and that comes with knowing that you can ask.
Hmm.
Just sitting right there. And like, all right, now what is this about? Why is this happening? You know,
Mm.
um, it's because quite often uh, uh, you may be challenged when you're trying to identify one life or thing that you're seeing. Uh,
Hmm.
One of the things that I suggest, if that does happen to you, is to
Hmm.
relax into it.
Relax into it?
Don't try and force it. If
Okay.
you try to force it into a, you'll be wondering forever why this happened in this particular life. So, so just relax and let it flow. If it doesn't flow, just take note to it. Just let it sit and comes back to you.
Yes.
That's a useful way for me to trying to stop trying to put it into a specific form or format or lifetime, because that will drive you crazy. And we don't want
Mm.
that.
We don't want that. Okay. Beautiful. Thank you. Thank you. So you've given us so many insights on how our past lives can be influencing our current life and how we can work with this so that any past lives that inhibit our prosperity in this life can be addressed, and how we can use certain past lives to enhance our prosperity in this life, such as a past life where things came easy to us and we had a sense of deservingness, how we can tap into that past life to reconnect with a sense of deservingness in this life. So, what wisdom! I love your book, My Infinite Self, and we're so glad you joined us this evening. Your book is available on Amazon.com. Is that accurate?
Yes, it is. My
Okay.
Infinite Self, Memoirs of an Eternal Being. And
Yes.
the key is that there is something in here for you. If you're listening or watching this podcast after the actual session, when you get my book, you will find that there is something in here that is just for you. And the key thing about it is for you to recognize yourself in it and to see that there is more to you than this current lifetime. And
Mm.
there's healing in other lifetimes. There's healing for you here, and it's all based on love. Where is the love in it? Let me find the love in this situation. So it's a beautiful thing. Yeah.
Beautiful. In the words of Tina Marie, there's another side inside of you. Wonderful. So, what are you working on these days, Reverend Lisa Rae, after that wonderful retreat you just had last weekend?
Yes, the retreat was a lot of fun, and it was a
Yes.
beautiful offering of love. The
Mm.
experience has further led me to help people understand how to use divination tools. This is a small
Mm-hmm.
thing, but
Mm-hmm.
it's important. It's important to
Mm-hmm.
know that you can go someplace, or even just to a Bible, or the Quran, or Bhagavad Gita, or the
Mm-hmm.
Torah. Any of those,
Mm-hmm.
you can just open it up and look
Yes.
into it and find out what the answer is to a question that you have. So that's one
Mm-hmm.
thing, divination tools. I'm
Mm-hmm.
also doing past life regressions for people. They're I'm
Mm-hmm.
just starting on this, and
Mm-hmm.
you're going to be one of my guests. Thank you, Reverend Jim.
Yes.
Um, yes. So as I complete my practicum, then I'll be able to get paid. So,
Yay.
yeah.
Wonderful. Yeah.
One of the other things that I'm doing, I am doing some social activist training for people who have come up and have no connection to how to maintain their lives, how to
Mm.
write a check, how to balance their finances, how to
Mm.
get groceries, and how to cook properly. These are things
Mm.
that I am setting up right now. In fact, tomorrow I'm going to be a part of a hearing um, in Rockville, Maryland, about rent stabilization, which is an issue that goes along this broad spectrum of information that I'm going to be doing sessions to help people understand how to live this way, or how to live um, in more prosperous way. And
Yeah.
the some of the other things that I'm doing some additional um, emotional release sessions for people. As you'll see in my book, that was one of the major things that I did to enable me to understand, to have a huge breakthrough in
Mm-hmm.
understanding how I felt about some of my other past lives, how I
Mm-hmm.
felt about what I was doing in this lifetime to heal my other lifetimes. So that was important, to just get that out of
Absolutely.
the way so that I could open
Mm-hmm.
up to more. So that emotional
Absolutely.
release, that's one of the things that I am supporting people with. So if you feel
As,
that you have a blockage and are unable to get through it, and you find yourself going back over and over and over again to those feelings that do not support you, then what this emotional release does is it lovingly, easily, gently touches those feelings and allows you to be supported in addressing them and releasing them in a way that helps you, and it frees you. And once you're done, um, you have the opportunity to just receive the love and the healing that is yours from your source. So
yes. And as you know from my book,
that
The
is one
Miracle
of
of
the things
The
I'm
Soul of Prosperity, emotional release is one of the keys to allowing more of the energy of prosperity. Sounds like you're working on some exciting stuff, Reverend Lisa Rae.
I am. Yes, I am. Yeah. And I'm doing a lot of little vignettes for some young people who uh, think differently than those of us that have been
Okay.
here a while.
Okay.
and coaching them with these little vignettes. So we'll start
Hmm.
seeing those come out there. I have them, they're in the oven baking. So
In the oven
it's great.
baking. Wonderful. Some exciting stuff. You're working on some good stuff.
Yes.
Thank you so much. Yeah, and it's wonderful that you have
Welcome.
decided to step out in this way. Because you know, every once in a while, Spirit will give us a nudge, right?
Yes. Actually,
Yeah,
yes. I was kicked in the butt.
yeah.
So, so
Yeah.
I'm moving
Spirit gave me
forward.
a nudge
Yeah.
like that recently, too. Spirit, when all of this stuff came out about the
Uh-huh.
debates and the election and the turmoil in our political systems, Spirit said, people are freaking out. And they're
Yeah.
listening to all these pundits and running every which way, but nobody's listening to Spirit. And Spirit said, well, we want
Right.
to make our viewpoint available. And so last week I did a little spontaneous thing. Live at 5 on Monday afternoon, I did Spirit Speaks on world events, on current events. And it helped so many people. And so many people were so helped and healed by it. And many people had questions. So I'm actually going to do it again this Monday, live at 5. Spirit Speaks on current events. We'll go delve more into what's happening and we'll answer some of the questions that came up last week. That'll be tomorrow, live at 5 p.m. on my Facebook channel, on my YouTube channel. It's called Spirit Speaks on current events. So, Reverend Lisa Rae, I want to thank you so much for being here today. I want to thank you for the wisdom and the insights that you shared. I want to thank you for your book because I love your book and it's helped me so, and it's helped so many. And let us all remember
So many.
there's another side inside of you. And this side of you can help you with your prosperity by either overcoming blockages to it that you don't even know about, or you can bring up aspects of yourself that can help you on your prosperity journey. And past life regression is one way to do it. Reverend Lisa Rae Brooks, thank you so much for tonight. God bless you, and I want to thank our viewers as well here on the Miracle of Prosperity on the New Thought Media Network. Good night.
Good night.